Exodus 2. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived, and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime, and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off, to wit what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away, and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the women took the child, and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, Because I drew him out of the water.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Bahashai, Hashem,
Hashem, Kakudash.
double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessing, salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing the word and truth and in sincerity across the 4 winds in the name of Yahweh Bashim Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right, with GMS Mississippi Camp coming with another weekly lesson. All right, and this week we're going into the Great Dismantling. Okay, the Great Dismantling. All right, because what we're seeing right before our eyes, okay, is the Lord has a spirit on Esau, Edom, to dismantle, okay, his own kingdom, okay, in hopes, that he can establish a new world order and where he governs the world, through his technology, through left-hand means forever. All right, we're watching the devil attempt to make himself manually the most high on the left-hand side. All right, and it begins with him dismantling, all right, his old system in an attempt to try to establish a new. Okay, so this is what we're seeing happen in real time. All right, and the brother, has a video, just going into this Department of Government Efficiency, which is called Doge. Okay, which is nothing but the technocrat hammer. Okay, that's breaking in pieces this old government system. Okay, that people have gotten used to. Okay, so we're going to go into a few things, a few articles, the happiness and, the condition, of this society. And for the longest, it's been dismantled. This ain't, something that just started under Trump and, Elon. All right. No, long before, those 2 puppets were put in office. Okay. This place has been, being dismantled, from the inside out. Okay, now it's to the point to where it's just showing, okay, in a major way, and Esau's these fast. The elites are fast tracking this thing to get to the next phase. Okay. So did you want to get that video, or you want to get that pre-sale first, bro?
We can get that video first, bro.
All right. Let's go here. All right, so this is a video from CNN. All right, dealing with the war. All right, Trump's administration wars on colleges. Okay, and it's just one of many, departments. Okay, that Trump, through Doge, okay, dismantling. Okay, so I'm gonna let this play for first few minutes, and then we'll go from there.
Here's my take. There is no area where America's global dominance is more total than higher education. With about 4% of the world's population and 25% of its GDP, America has 72% of the world's 25 top universities by one ranking and 64% by another. But this crucial American competitive advantage is being undermined by the Trump administration's war on colleges. Hat tip to the New York Times' Michelle Goldberg for raising this issue as well. Listen to what J.D. Vance said at the National Conservatism Conference in 2021.
We have to honestly and aggressively attack the universities in this country. The professors are the enemy.
The administration has put those words into action. The most dramatic assault has been financial, a freezing or massive reduction in research grants and loans from the federal government. Some of these efforts are under court review, but the cumulative impact could be billions of dollars in cuts to basic research, much of it disrupting ongoing projects and programs. High-quality research in the United States has emerged in a unique ecosystem. The federal government provides much of the funding through high-quality institutions like the National Institutes of Health and the National Science Foundation, and private foundations and companies account for most of the rest. Professors at universities, both public and private, use these funds to conduct the research. No other country has a system that works as well. What is at risk now is what Holden Thorpe, the editor-in-chief of Science, calls the social contract that the federal government and institutions have had to enable the scientific research enterprise in America in the last 80 years. Take a university like Duke, which ranked 11th in total grants received from the NIH last year. Of its $1.33 billion research budget, $863 million came from Washington, according to the AP. That includes funds for critical research projects on cancer and other diseases, but also support for over 630 PhD students at the medical school. Those projects and students will have to be pared back substantially if the cut goes through. One crucial mechanism to cut funding is through a massive reduction in the overhead or indirect costs that universities get reimbursed for from the federal government. Overhead often makes up to 40 or 50% of a grant. But last month, the NIH ordered that it had to be capped at 15%. This sounds more rational than it is. Universities often divide their costs on science grants into research costs, the salaries of the professors and graduate students, and overhead, the costs of the buildings, labs, energy, and utilities and administrative staff. When you are building a complex lab to conduct experiments, the structure and equipment is often more costly than the salaries and stipends of the researchers. Michigan State University has declared that these cuts could make it stop construction of a $330 million research building for cancer, cardiovascular disease, and neuroscience studies. Government funding plays a unique role. It often supports basic research, the kind that companies have less incentive to do, and its results cannot be hoarded by any one company, but rather are provided free to the entire scientific and technological community so that all can use it to experiment and innovate.
Yeah, you got it, brother. You can expound on it.
Con. Like, what you see happening in this country is that they're making these people weak and defenseless by attacking their education. You see, if you can weaken someone from the inside, of course their outside will fall. Because if you have a dumbed down people will do anything. That's why they call the people, the masses, sheeple. They call them sheeple. And they truly want to make them sheeple because what? A sheep would do anything that their shepherd would do, or follow their shepherd anywhere he will go. And they have all made the people very dependent on this system, especially AI nowadays. You see, this is making the people what? This is making AI the people's shepherd. But they have to make you dumber and dumber to make this a smoother process. If you get what I'm saying.
Come on, bro. Yeah, now I got a quick precept before you Revelation 18 real quick. This is the book of Sirach 14:7. It says, and if he do it good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. So what we see with these devils, they fund, particular industries, like they subsidize a lot of the farmers, you know, and they do these things, a lot of government aid pays for, hospitals, and, it's a lot of things that government funding goes into. All right. And they do these things just so they can have leverage, on the masses, so that when he wants you to do something, well, you've gotten so dependent on that aid, okay, from him, to where you've gotten so comfortable. And when he wants you to go in the direction that he wants you to go, and you don't want to go that way, he just stops the funding. This whole transforming thing. You know, if you hear Trump language, which is off anyway, it shouldn't even be a debate, about a man and a woman, but he's saying that any college or school that allows, transformers to play with the men, okay, that play with the women, transformer women to play with the regular women, they're going to stop government funding. And a lot of these institutions, schools, even states like Mississippi, they couldn't function without government funding. You got a lot of states that most of their funding come from the government. The reason why certain states are able to function is based off government funding. Okay, but you have a lot of states that depend on government funding just to operate. Okay, and that's why the government has so much leverage. You know, so he'll do it good. And it seems like he's doing this for integrity, for care of the people. But no, he's doing this to have leverage. So when he wants you to go a particular way, he can just snatch the rug from under you. All right, with stopping the aid. All right, to get a certain industry, okay, or a certain department, or even a certain state to go the way that the government wants them to go, And it says that, and at the last he would declare his wickedness. And we at that last now, where he's declaring their wickedness, man. And you're gonna keep seeing popping up in different factions, with government aid being stopped, you know. But you want that in Revelation 18, bro?
Okay.
All right, this is the book of Revelation 18:12. It said, the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and of fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all Thyine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and of iron and of marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men.
And that latter part is the key thing that these people desire, the soul of men. Because if you take that technical incision they will have you. They will have you if you take that technical incision. While your soul resides in your body and you take that technical incision, they will have you. You know, because once the body leaves the soul, it goes back to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But this is what they want. You can see how they're moving within the earth, how they're following prophecy. That's gonna lead up to that point.
And when you get this word soul, it goes into psyche, which goes into your psyche. You know, so when it's speaking about, you know, your soul, they're talking about your mind. And they already have these people's mind. You know, a lot of these people getting the sea hip is just to finish them off, you know. But for the most part, the people that's predestined to get the sea hip, he already has their mind. He just gonna put it all right on the grid. He just gonna link you, you know, to his grid fully. You know, it's just the next step because you go into some of the definitions as the seat of the feelings, desires, affections, aversions, soul, etc. So you look at uh, this devil, he already knows how to make. He knows what to make these people sad. He knows how to make people, you know, cry, get mad, go into uproar, being in division. You know, the way he had women, you know, talking about they're gonna leave their husband, they voted for Trump, and you know, he already has control of people's feelings, desires, and affections. You know, he knows how to draw reactions and to scrapulate particular emotions out the masses. Like he's, you know, established that. You know, and this sea hip is just going to be the final touch. You know, to just give him full authority. You know, over your psyche, man. You know.
Kind. And by, you know, doing what they're doing with the educational system, that's making these people empty-headed. Why they need the people empty-headed? Because they can input their programming into them. As you say, we can already see it happening.
And hey, if I can add, this devil, he's pretty much breaking down the structure and the fabric of America, because you see the jobs are leaving, okay, or being shut down, and now it's going into the educational system. You know, where they're pulling fundings, where schools gonna start closing, or you know, people are not gonna be able to go to college because there's not gonna be any grants or things of that nature. So you got the work system or the workforce. You know, it's like the structure, man, because that's what people do: go to work, make money. You know what I'm saying, and you know, create a life to live, so they speak. But when you're taking away the jobs, and then you taking away funding from schools, colleges, whatever, which is gonna be like that fabric, that's gonna start breaking everything down too. Because if people not going to college or have some kind of trade, they're not gonna be able to work. And if they do have a trade, because a lot of people who have degrees, they have 4, 5 degrees and be working at fucking Walmart. So a lot of these degrees people get, they're not even jobs available for them. So as they're stripping all of the access to what it takes to build in a society when it comes to jobs, you know, the schools, it's going to continue to continually break down and being stripped, and people are going to be more in panic and more in need for some kind of solution. You know, so that's going to make it a lot easier for people to bow the knee to take that charagma, man. Because if you don't, when this devil takes away all the jobs, the monetary system collapse. So you're not going to be going to school. You know, you're not going to have access to food without taking this charagma. So what are people going to do? And like you were saying, Priest Josh, you know, he already have the minds of the people. He just got to come with that right, that right. What's the word I'm looking for? Event.
Yeah, right. Event. Yep.
To really just dismantle the economy. And these people are going to be looking for a way out. Problem is going to be destruction of the system, the monetary. The reaction is going to be people losing their shit, crashing out because they don't know what to do, because they're not rooted and Yahweh Shai, and the solution is going to be ultimately that charagma, so they can have some kind of sense of being able to get things they need. As the scripture say, woe to you that go down to Egypt for help. So they're going to take the tip, man. So this man, he has been chiseling away at the society for a while now, but we're in the latter end and we're seeing it being manifested.
Come on, bro. I want to get this word dismantle, and then we'll get some precepts from brothers. I just want to get this word dismantle real quick. And it says to take a machine or structure to pieces. And what we have to understand, America is nothing but a corporate machine, all right, of the elites. That's why we're known as the hammer of the earth in the scriptures, the excellency of the Chaldeans, because through America, the elites, have weakened the nations. They got everybody in debt to this American dollar, and they put everybody in submission, through this American military. All right, and now what we're seeing is a dismantling of both. America, economic strength, is waning. Okay, and their military strength is waning. Okay, and we're seeing this society, okay, this American empire being completely dismantled. And you go into some of the synonyms, it says to take apart, to take to pieces, to pull apart, to pull the pieces, to break up, to demolish, all right, to pull down. It says in Malachi, they shall build, but I will throw down, because it's the Lord putting it in the mind to do this, man. To unbuild, to demolish, okay, to deconstruct, to disassemble. And this is what we're seeing happening. And Trump and Elon have been tasked, all right, with managing, okay, the dismantling, okay, of America. Trump is here to keep you distracted, all right, with them dumbass looks, okay, them jokes and playing and shit, playing tough, all right. And Elon is coming through as this representative of the Geek Squad, okay, with the data and analysis to justify everything that, that they're doing, So these two, all right, stooges have been in charge, have been put in charge of the dismantling, okay, of the great American empire, man, so it can fit into this new world order, all right? Any brother had a precept?
I have a reason I wanted to add to what Lamar had said, bro, about Shaw.
We get a precept first, bro, then we let you add, bro. What brother had a precept?
Yeah, I had a quick precept.
Okay, Tom.
Isaiah 30 and 1 down to 3 in the NLT, bro.
Isaiah 31 and NLT. You say you want to get in the NLT? Okay. Let me. All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 1 in the NLT. It said, "What sorrow awaits my rebellious children, said the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai. You make plans that are contrary to my spirit. You make alliances not directed by my spirit, thus piling up your sins."
You continue down to 3, bro, and I'm going to expound it.
Okay. Yeah, now you can pick up the reading too. It's a lot, bro. I forgot you.
I got you, bro. Let me pick up at 2.
Yeah, pick up at 2, Bob. Sure.
Come through it, bro. Isaiah 30 and chapter 2, it says, "For without consulting me, you have gone down to Egypt for help. You have put your trust in Pharaoh's protection, and you have tried to hide in his shade."
Yeah, your trust. Yeah.
Your trust, your trust. Verse 3,
Yeah.
it says, "But by trusting Pharaoh, you will be humiliated, and by depending on him, you will be disgraced."
Yeah, so here it is. You got our people, because there's a lot of our people that's no colleges and they basically trusting on this man economic system, educational system, and thinking it's just gonna take them somewhere without the knowledge they have about Shema Shai. But hey, the Lord is bringing this place down because it's been coming out. Hey, that college shit, like the brother brought out, man, you can go to college and have all these damn degrees, but it don't mean shit. You know, them degrees don't mean a damn thing. It's about how well you work with your hands, man. It's about basically it's trades that's basically making a way to live out here. And here it is. Here this Trump stripping all that shit. You know, people, especially these women, they big on that college shit. You know how they, and they like to boast in it. You know, basically how they going and getting it, basically the education of this man. You know, without having the education of Yahweh Shem Shai, because Yahweh Shem Shai, he tell us how to basically maneuver in the earth. You know, and not to get me wrong, nothing wrong with going to college, but here it is. That can't be your all in all be all. And plus, hey, this man, he's talking about basically removing 50% of the Department of Education. You know, so shit. Imagine what they finna do with the youth. You know, real quick, bro, you give me this word, fulfillment. Baba Kashai, get it in Google.
Say fulfillment.
Come on.
All right. Paste it for you real quick. Hey, you can read that for them, brother.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, you can read. I was saying you can read.
Okay, come. This is the word fulfillment. It says the achievement of something desired, promised, or predicted.
Yeah, so ultimately, and then we can look at this on two different sides, two different spectrums. See, for one, Yahweh Shem Shai got this man moving in the earth, like the brothers going into, to basically dismantle his own kingdom. You know, because this is all a prediction, this is prophecy that he will be moving like this. You know, as a madman. You know, as a dragon. You know, but and like the brother said, it's a build up to ultimately gonna come down upon the children of Israel. You know. And it says desire to promise, and how you look at it, Esau. See, Esau trying to fill his belly. He trying to fill his belly, and he got the people, the masses, exactly what he want them. Or he placing them in the position where he wanted, like the brother was going to, so when he could strip that carpet from under him. Not everybody playing, everybody playing that role or ready to submit to this man's agenda, or all his criteria and shit, man. Mm-hmm. And it ultimately gonna fulfill, the stages of Revelation 13 and 16 when you go down into it, because everybody they going along to get along. So just imagine when he present the seal, they're gonna be right in line.
Yeah, they already conditioned, bro. Any other brother had a precept?
Yeah, I got one, bro.
What you got, bro?
Hey, give me Psalms 140. Yeah, Psalm 146 in the NLT. Start at 3. And
Psalms
146. Start at 3 all the way down to 5.
Mm-hmm. Make sure NLT. Yep. You got it, Anna.
Come on, bro. Psalm 146, starting at verse 3. It says, "Do not put your confidence in powerful people. There is no help. There is no help for you there."
That's 4. Right. That's it. That's right. Because everybody put all the trust in Trump, especially if Trump gonna make this right, he gonna get the economy back to where it need to be. All right. Trump start all the goddamn wars. Trump don't give a damn what he say. He don't give a damn who he offend. Putting all the tariffs on people. And everybody trusting, they had out, but everybody thought this nigga gonna make everything right, man. But now, The people all pissed off, protesting. Like the brother said in the beginning, the women trying to divorce their man because they voted for Trump. It just crazy at people out here, really. All right, go ahead, bro.
Verse 4. It says when they breathed at their last, they returned to the earth, and all their plans die with them.
That's right. So these elites, they really think they gonna get that they NWO started and it gonna last, but it's not. Soon they die. Guess what? Their plans gonna die because the Lord gonna shake that shit up. Lord come in and guess what? And stop it. All right, but go ahead, bro.
Verse 5. But joyful are those who have the power of Israel as their helper, whose hope is in Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, their power.
That's it. All right. So I hope need to be in Yahweh some shot still a man. Cause a man ain't nothing. He get out just like that. But Yahweh shot, hey, them powers that last forever. So put your trust in Yahweh shot. Fuck everybody else. Fuck everything else. That's all I got, bro. On that.
I got one.
I got
back
no
him
dope.
Huh?
Bro.
No, I had a precept to back you
up. What you got, bro?
2 Corinthians 10 and 4. And then we're gonna get KJV. Come.
Okay. Yeah, Tazo, I gotta remember that song there. You ain't bought songs out in a minute. You been tripping.
I've been tripping, cuz. I've been tripping bad about the song, though.
2 Corinthians 10 and 4, bro.
Come. It says.
I'll read for you. It's 2 Corinthians 10 and 4 said, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds."
Can you get that word warfare in the blue letter? Because it says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal." But when you think about our warfare in the spirit, Esau's his weapons are carnal. So when you look up that word warfare, one of those scroll up, bro.
Said the weapon. Okay, I see it. Okay, they probably get the word strategy from strategy.
Strong's G 4752 Strataya.
Yeah.
So the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Esau's weapons, his are fully carnal and of this world. So that definition says an expedition and campaign, military service, or warfare. But when you look up that word campaign in the Google, it says an organized course or of action to achieve a goal. So all of Esau's weapons to achieve his goal are going to be carnal, i.e. the sea hip, i.e. the militaries and everything like that. So we got to continue to stay tapped into the weapons of Yahweh Shema Shai, which is the spiritual weapons that we have.
Gun, bro. There's a heavy point in campaign. What you say that campaign meant?
You can type it up in Google. Just type in campaign. It's called. It's the first definition. It says an organized course of action to achieve a goal.
Okay. Yeah, it pulled up right there.
Yeah. So, Lockie, that's what I was trying to get at first, bro. I had just lost it.
It's all good, bro. Yep. That's always sake. But they put it up there for the camera's sake. What you see, working on both sides, with the Most High, he has he has an organized course in the spirit, to achieve a particular goal, but that's heavy though. Yep. It says an organized course.
Esau is going to be tapped into, he's going to be very much tapped into those carnal weapons. Like the brother Lamar was going into with the sea hip. We saw the test run with the juice. Esau just didn't let you niggas travel and go outside and everything like that. And you got juiced up the first chance you got. How long I get? I mean, you said it too, bro. I get nigga 72 hours. With no light, no power. No 2K, no none of that, and they can't go nowhere. And as soon as he come out with the chip, everybody gonna be chipped up. but we can see his organized course of action. Because we can go all the way back. I think we was doing the Sunday, went all the way back to 1978, when we first started, when they first started showing the sea hip in the newspapers online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been decades of conditioning, for the device, and the brothers El
They had
Ariala.
skipped out, bro. Salaki.
What happened, bro? Oh, but yeah, just going back into it, the elder brother Ariala and the brother elder required quorum. They said it took decades to come up with the infrastructure, to build the infrastructure for the AI and the C hip, but it's only going to take a moment to make it mandatory. So we send the build up to that moment. But then the brother had a precept.
I got a couple of them, bro.
Can only let her lot go, and then
Yeah, you got it.
we're gonna let her lot go. And then I got a few more. I got about 2 articles I want to get. So let's get yours a lot. I'm gonna get those 2 articles, and then we'll pick up with yours, Lamont. What you got, bro?
I want to land back off of Anah's point. You can get Psalm chapter 83, verse 2 to 5.
Okay, come on. All right, you got Anah, Psalms 83 and 2.
This is Psalms 83, Psalms chapter 83 and verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. Is that right, bro?
A
Tumult. The water.
Mm-hmm.
It says, and they hate thee, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Continue down
verse
to verse
3.
5,
Yeah.
bro.
For verse 3. For they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
And this is their campaign to what? Completely get rid of the children of Israel. That's why each time something comes out, like what we saw with the baby 19, where they said anybody what was color that was color darker than a paper bag, you was most highly susceptible to it. each time something came out, it was always aimed at one of the all of the tribes of the children of Israel. They are campaigning, as you say, against the hidden ones.
Come on, bro. That was it on it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get these 2 articles real quick, and we got you, Lamont, and whatever other precept brothers got. But I just want to bring these out, let y'all brothers get back to it. So you got the DOG, all right, the Doge, all right, headed by you got Elon. Now it says here are all the agencies that Elon Musk and Doge have been trying to dismantle so far. All right, that word dismantle, okay, to pull apart and to pick the pieces. Said Elon Musk Department of Government Efficiency Group has made swift work of the billionaire's goal to scale back or dismantle much of the federal government in diversity policies and otherwise further President Donald Trump's agenda. Okay, so when you look at these different agencies, ultimately they just randomly tearing this place down. As far as different departments that they're dismantling. Because it doesn't. When you go into what they're dismantling, it doesn't make sense. And the things that they're not dealing with and letting go on. Okay, when you really look at it, it really doesn't make sense. But people don't understand, what's going on or how government works and what agencies do what, because even me and the brother was out, handling a little business today, and the guy we was dealing with, talked about how Doge was talking about cutting their funding, which not to get all into it, but it don't make sense, when you really see what this guy's cutting. So uh, you go down to different departments. You got the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. You got the Department of Defense. Okay, which here it is. You think Elon Musk, who has defense contracts with the government, you think that they're looking into his okay contracts? Okay, absolutely not. Okay, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin. All right, these guys that have pretty much made a monopoly of the defense industry. You think they're going to look at those guys who are responsible for $1 trillion, a year, worth of government spending? Okay, you got the Department, of Education. All right, I think they're Maxine Waters.
Look
Dang.
like it.
Triple OG, you know. So you got the Federal Aviation Administration that's dealing with the flights. That's why you see, SpaceX, getting ready to go into that sector, which is going to be all AI. Okay, everything, because even Department of Education is going to be children, agriculture. I mean, it's like it. Department of Education is going to be AI. Agriculture is going to be AI. All right, the IRS, okay, is going to be AI. Air traffic, AI. All right, Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. Okay, all right, all is gonna be AI. Like I say Internal Revenue Service, Medicare. Okay, all these things are going to shift to AI, and to be linked to all these services. Guess what you're going to have, man? Okay, that micro. You see, so all these different, the Treasury Department. You know, all these different things, man. All right, all of it is going to AI, and it is what you call uh, AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. Intelligence, 'Cause right now you just have AI, artificial intelligence, but the next phase is AGI, which is the artificial general intelligence, man. Okay, and the more this man has pushed AI into society, which I just want to show this what we're talking about. Me and the brothers talking about, how children are becoming dumber in this society, and there's all this technology, man, that thinks for them. So you go here, all right, and it's just institute.org, the collapse of American education. It says, how do we fare in literacy? According to the U.S. Department of Education, a shocking of 54 of U.S. adults ages 16 to 74 lack basic proficiency in literacy, reading below the equivalent of a sixth grade level. That equates to roughly 130 million American adults who currently read at an elementary level. Unfortunately, the most recent numbers do not show any reversal in that abysmal trend. In 2020, they found that only 29% of eighth grade public school students were deemed proficient in reading skills. Okay, and you see this, man. People have a very low, like, intellectual comprehension level. Like, people don't understand the basic things. Otherwise it's hard to even have casual conversation with the masses of people, man. Especially Jake dumbed down ass, man. You know, but here it is, all this smart technology. He boasting he can do this and do that, and we finna go to Mars, but nigga, you can't read. Nigga trying to leave the planet, nigga, you can't read on the planet you on. You know, uh, but that was crazy. When I looked at that number. All right, I said, "Man, but you see it in reality. Like, that number reflects the people you run into on the day to day. You know. Um, but yeah, what you had, Lamar? I just want to bring that up.
Cuz. I got two. Want to start out with Psalms 49, verse 11. And then we go to Psalms 37, verse 14.
Psalm 49 and 11.
Okay.
All right. Oh, you got it. Why not?
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 49, starting at verse 11. It says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names.
And the point bring it out is their inward thoughts is that their houses shall continue forever. And we see this man is building up, like brothers bringing out with the charagma, AI, transhumanism. All these things is to further his agenda, in his plan to have world dominance by way of his NWO. So the Lord got this man a trick bag, being the scripture say, why is it teaming, coming up with all his technocracy, all these different things, thinking that he's gonna be a world dominance, man, for all generations. But it's not going to happen because the Lord is going to come back. And we brought, what was it? He shall build, but the Lord would throw down. So all these inventions, all his technology, it's all vanity when it's over and done. But he's going to get so far with it because a lot of people are going to have to be caught up in it for their judgment to be justified. But he would never get to his full pinnacle where he's trying to fulfill. All right, bro, can you give me Psalms 37 and 14?
Psalms 37, 14.
Con.
You got it. You got it now.
Con. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 37 and verse 14. The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow and cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation.
And see, this devil, man, he uses that pen as a sword, man, that can be very vicious, man, and very beneficial for him, because he write these laws, he take away laws, he bring forth his executive orders, he reverse laws and executive orders, like he made up a whole department for Elon Musk, man, just by the swipe of a pen, and what does a sword do? It cuts, and this pen is allow him to what? Cut funding from particular schools or government jobs or whatever the setup might be. So he's doing a lot of damage with that sword, which is the pen, man. And it's only gonna get worse, man, because like brothers are going into, this man has a agenda, and he wants technocracy to be the new government. He's trying to X out the traditional government of America, man. A lot of government jobs have been lost, defunded, and it's continually going on, man. That's why this man has to be done away with, because as long as this man is in power, there would be nothing close to peace on this earth, man. It's only getting worse and worse, man. But this is what happens when you have a cruel ruler in authority. The scriptures say when the righteous bear rule, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, roughly paraphrasing, the people mourn. And you look throughout the earth, man, no one is in a state of happiness, man. No one is in that state of mirth. And those ones that are doing it, they're forcing it, man. They're forcing it. But once they leave the club or leave the come home from the vacation, once they get to their homes, man, they're in a depressive state. Because this place is done, man. Trump is showing people that America and its citizens are have been pretty much basically used up, man. Because I thought it was about making America great again. Well, if it was, it wasn't including the people of America. It was about the agenda for the elites of America. You know, that's all I got, bro.
Come on, bro. Any other brother had some?
Come, you can give me you can give me Jeremiah chapter 4 verse 22. Because this really is geared against our people, even though he's coming it's gonna happen to the whole world. He's really doing this against our people.
You got it, Anna.
Chapter verse 22, right?
Jeremiah 4:22.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 4, verse 22. For my people is foolish; they have not known me. They are they, they are sottish children, Salakia, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge.
You see, it starts with that knowledge. You see, people are so dumbed down that they're literally falling after this man, falling after this system because they do not know Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So they're gonna fall for it. They're gonna fall for it hard. They're gonna fall for it hook, line, and sinker. Now, if you can do me a favor, you can get that on Google what hook, line, and sinker means.
You keep making a point while I look it up.
Because sottish means stupid children, because you see everything they got going on. It makes no sense. It makes no sense, especially when you have the spiritual sight from on high to see what's going on. Hey, this is leading that way. This is leading towards this. Don't you see it? And the people believe that you're the one who's gone backwards.
You need me to go ahead and get it for you?
Yeah, it's right there for you, bro. You got it.
This is the hook, line, and sinker phrase of hook used to emphasize that someone has been completely deceived or tricked.
This man is that great deceiver. This man is gonna deceive and trick these people. Like that scripture the brother got earlier. He gonna even though he do good unwillingly, at the end he would declare his wickedness. He be like, "Ha, I got y'all," and in that kind of fashion. This man, he's not doing this for his people good. He's doing it for his good, to fill his own belly, to declare himself God.
Tell him, brother. That's the end game, The devil trying to make himself the most high on the left hand side through left hand means, so finna see the devil go all out. Any brother had anything else?
I got one more. Oh, slut.
The Sirach 12 and 10. To get the point. Down to 12, Baba Shah.
I got to switch Bible. Well, you can make a point while I'm looking for it.
Yeah, going to that hook, line, and sinker, basically being deceived. And for the most part, because we know 2/3 is the greater. And they've been deceived, man. And they already deceived. And they're going to be further deceived once this man bring in that safety net, so to speak, going into the charagma. See, because our people, they just want to be, they want to be a part of society. They want to be where it's so-called great at. Because they don't see the greater good of what we doing. They just see what Esau is trying to continue.
You got it, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you now, bro.
It had skipped out when he gave the book and chapter. I didn't get that one.
Sirach 12 and 10.
God, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 12, and chapter 12, starting at verse 10 throughout it, bro. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness.
Right.
Though he humble, go ahead.
No, yeah, because this is an enemy, you know, from the womb. You know, this is an enemy. Because shit, even from when Esau sold his birthright, he always been pursuing Jake, man. You know, and he want that birthright back.
God, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away.
Yeah, no, because he speak all this smooth ass shit. It don't mean he got your best interest. You know, if the scripture goes into it, he just trying to overthrow you. He just trying to get you to where you at odds against Yahweh Shem Shai, so he can still be the accuser of the brethren, man. You know, he want his dominion to reign. You know, he want to continue to be over you because he don't want us over them at all, and he want this for all of Israel.
Verse 12, set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou though at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith.
Yeah, so here it is. Hey, ultimately, this man want to make you comfortable enough with him to where shit, hey, he can just take you down at any time. He want to stick you, you know. He want to stick your head ultimately with that C hip, you know. And then, because when you get stuck, that C hip ain't no coming back. You gotta go to the other side. You gonna fall with Babylon. You're gonna be part of the second death. That's all I had on that, bro.
Come on, bro. You say you had something to mind. We in it, whatever you got, bro.
First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 11.
First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 11.
God.
All right, you got it, bro.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, and verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are around about us, for since we are departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Right. And the reason I wanted to bring that up, man, because, you know, Israelites have to be mindful of these men that they look up to as their leaders amongst these particular camps, man, you know, and watch how they moving, because a lot of them are going to get their congregation, you know, led to the slaughter because they listen to them, they believe in them, you know, and not really just taking heed to the fashion they moving in, man. You got, you know, they got to remember they had one leader talking about, you know, go get the jump shot. You got another leader, the other group saying there wasn't no Jacob's trouble. You know, you got another leader that been doing some flippy floppy type activity, you know, and these are supposedly men who are leaders of camps, man. So that influence they gonna have on these people, man, or they followers, if they don't, you know, separate themselves, you know, when shit really hit the fan, when things start getting hard, when they don't know how they're gonna eat, you know, how they're gonna drink, where they're gonna live, you know, it's gonna make it easy for them to bow the knee if they're not rooting Yahweh Shemi Al Shah. So, you know, it's gonna be a lot of wicked men amongst Israel who are going to be those Judas goats, man. So, and the government have set up some of these men. And we see the what the Iranians had brought out regarding, watching the Israelites and particular people they done had set up in the camps, leaders and everything. So you got to be in the spirit, man, to be mindful of this shit, man, because we in some times now where hey, the Lord's judgment is gonna be real serious, man. And if you get caught up following wicked leaders, man, hey, you gonna get caught up in that net. That's all I got, brother.
Come on, bro. Yep. We in the time, be circumspect. Let's say these devils, in full throttle. All right. Niggas are in full throttle. These everyday people, they finna be forced into being full throttle. All right. And all roads lead to the MOTB and the coming of, Yahweh Shai. So we pray to overcome, the devices of the devil, the vices of this world, and to be preserved for the coming of Yahweh Shai. But we're right here, like the brother said earlier, one crisis can change the game, take this thing to another phase. It only takes a moment, all right, for this thing to shift gears into the next phase, man. So day by day, we just watch, as well as pray, continue developing in the spirit, staying humble, staying away from the weirdos, and just building, in true unity, and charity amongst the body, So that was the point. We pray that you brothers, all right, and you sister was edified. To the next time we say shalom, Kwam Yashalom, Abba Baal soon, shalom.
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 Shalom. Shalom.